So right behind me, this is the 2025 Toyota 4Runner. She's back and we are so excited. This is the car that everyone has loved for so long. You've bought them for the last 15 years without updates, without upgrades, without all those things. Well, now for 2025, get ready to be spoiled. For 2025, the Toyota 4Runner has a brand new look on the rear end. Notice these lights and the 4Runner name there spelled out across the back. This one is in blue. This is kind of a heritage blue color. We saw something similar on the Land Cruiser. This is the limited edition. And it is the top of the line. The limited edition, the TRD Pro, and the Trailhunter are the priciest 4Runners you're gonna get. And notice how Toyota is making this statement about what the 4Runner will be able to do. They placed it up on a rock. Buyers for 2025 will have a lot of choices. You can still get it in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. You can still get a third row, and you get a choice of engines. If this might look a little familiar on the front, come here and let me show you. This nice kind of squared off front grille, the badge is there, the lower air intake here and this lower bumper, and these lights that wrap slightly around the front. If it looks like the Toyota Tacoma, that's because this is very similar to the Toyota Tacoma. It's built on the same platform and it offers the same engines. So there is a 4-cylinder with 278 horsepower, and there is a 4-cylinder hybrid, which is not about fuel economy, it's about more power, and that generates 326 horsepower. There's a top new trim called the Trailhunter. I'm going to show you that. This is the limited edition, so this is more luxury, and we're also going to take a look at the TRD Pro Toyota 4Runner. The Toyota 4Runner is a mid-sized SUV. It does have a third row, but that's going to be tight because this is not a huge SUV. So think of the third row as really more of a convenience than an everyday usage. I don't have a third row in our demonstration model, but I will show you what it's like to get into that space. We'll be able to fold the seats down and show you what it's like to get in. It has this one, this is the limited, so this is sort of the luxury edition. It has a really nice high ground clearance, which is what you want in an SUV. So hopping into the 4Runner in the limited edition, you do have the luxury of a pop-out running board, a very cool detail. And it makes it much easier to get into the 4Runner. So there are a lot of details that are very similar to the Toyota Tacoma. There's a phone charge pad right there. There's a second spot where you can pop a phone right here. And that's the first thing I want to do when I get into the car because I need to move. So this does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so I don't even need to connect it with a wire. I can just pop it in there. If my Bluetooth is on and I've already set it up, I'm good to go. So let's see what this cabin, this front cabin feels like. So first of all, I'm going to position my seat. That is electric. This is the limited edition. So I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to set my steering wheel, which is also electric. I want to show you a few more things. So we have a digital driver display here. The stop button, stop start is right here. And then we have the multimedia system. Toyota's completely redone this. This is much larger than the one we saw in the Land Cruiser. More similar to, you might see the same similar screen in some of the other Toyotas. The system has been completely redesigned and it's really great. It has voice activation, so you can say, hey, and it will automatically respond with, how can I help you? Then here are our air vents. There are actual buttons here. And I want you to notice they have sort of this tactile metal treatment, so you can feel them. This does feel like a rugged and ready SUV. Even though this is a luxury edition, it feels like it. It feels ready to go. It feels ready for the off-road. You notice the textured metal here. Some of these details are also, they're not only seen in the Tacoma, but we've also seen them in the Tundra. So it really, the 4Runner really is a part of the truck family. Another thing I want to show you is over here. Check this out. If you have 3 phones, there's another space for another phone, which is really cool. I like that. I really like this treatment too. They've done a beautiful job with this truck. Another detail that you're going to love down here if you're off-roading is this, to be able to have this grab bar if you are in the passenger seat. It gives you something to hold on to, and there's even another little cubby there where you can toss a few things. So let's talk about what we have down here. So these little blanks, that means there's probably going to be something else in this space at some point. But over here we have you can turn on or off the auto stop start. This is our camera view button, so you can tap this to get a quick view. And then you can just squeeze here and turn to set your off-road settings there. Here's our brake hold button, favorite button in any car, and the parking brake. Center console is really nicely organized for all of your drive mode needs. The steering wheel will look very familiar if you've seen the new Tacoma or really any of Toyota's new cars. It actually reminds me a lot of the Tundra as well. So we have driver display here and entertainment, and then we have adaptive cruise. You can choose cruise, or you can toggle this to choose between cruise and adaptive cruise. Lane keep assist, follow distance is here, and then you can set or cancel it right there. So lots of options here on the steering wheel so that you have everything at your fingertips. What I don't see here is a head-up display. This is the top of the line model, so I don't think we're going to have a head-up display in the 4Runner, so you'll just have to keep your eyes on the road. All right, let's hop into the rear seat and see what that looks like. How's it feel back there, Kimry?
Spacious.
Spacious.
Yeah.
Is it more comfortable than the Tacoma?
Yes, I would say.
Yeah. So even though this is so similar to the Tacoma, you would say this is more comfortable?
Yeah, you can recline the back seat here. It's nice. It's got,
Yeah. And it's got a nice partial sunroof, but not a panoramic sunroof. So let's talk about the rear seat. Now, Kimry thought it was comfortable. I'm going to say I think it looks pretty small, but let's look and see. So we're going to measure the rear seat to see how comfortable it really is. So I'm going to move this seat up so my knees are just right here. I have just a couple of inches. I'm 5'8", and I have about 4 inches between my knee and the glove box here, but I'm comfortable. Now I'm going to see what it looks like in the back seat. Now I will note that the running board does cover the rear seat, which is great. So it's right there, and I'm okay, but it's not super spacious. Let's see, I can push the seat back a little bit. So it's comfortable, but I'm not gonna say this is super spacious. This is definitely not as large as the Land Cruiser that we saw yesterday. And if you really want legroom, Toyota has a lot of great products, so you might want to, if you really need rear space, you might look a little bit further, but it's not unreasonable, but it is tight. But the big question is, how will kids' car seats fit in the Toyota 4Runner? So first of all, we have lower anchors here for lower latches, and then we'll have the tethers on the back. So 3 tethers and 2 sets of lower anchors. And this is going to be a really tight setup for installing a rear-facing child passenger car seat. So before I measure that, let's look at what it takes to get into the 3rd row. We don't have the 3rd row here, of course, but it's an option. And this is a flip and fold. So if you are going to use the 3rd row, note that that's how you're going to get in there. This is how Toyota does 3rd row access in its 4-wheel drive vehicles with the flip and fold seat. So the 3rd row, if you're going to get that, then you need to make sure that this is going to be accessible. If you need to use it with any regularity, you need to make sure that you have access to it. Now let's measure these seats and see how they will fit for a child passenger car seat. So I'm going to measure these seats and see. We need about 32 inches or so seat back to seat back. This one is pretty far back, and I have 28 inches seat back to seat back. So great for front facing, but probably not ideal for rear facing child passenger car seats. So can we fit 3 across? So this seat you have a lot of space here, more than 20 inches. Each outboard seat is more than 20 inches. This is actually very similar to what we saw in the Land Cruiser. So we have about 12 inches, maybe 14, 15 inches for a center passenger seat, child passenger seat. But what do we have seatbelt to seatbelt? We only have about 11 inches. So this is a consideration, but can you fit 3 car seats across? Absolutely. This is actually a really nice wide SUV. For as compact as it is, you can fit 3 car seats across, which is going to be a bonus for families who really want to off-road and really want that 4Runner life. Let's take a look at the cargo area and see what that looks like. Okay, let's open the lift gate. So the lift gate button is right here between the Y and the O on the new Toyota badge here on the back of the 4Runner. You see the 4Runner name there. We have a really large cargo area, so you can see how this is outfitted for a 3rd row. There are cup holders. I do not see vents, so 3rd row passengers are going to be completely dependent on the 2nd row for vents, for air conditioning, and for USB ports. I don't see those either. I do see a household outlet back here, which will be great. The 3rd row passengers are probably not going to be able to reach that, but that's great if you need to add an air compressor or some piece of equipment or a cooler that you plug in, something like that. It's nice to have that outlet. This is a really large cargo area. I like this large, deep space. So you do have a lot of room for camping equipment, hockey bags. This is going to be a good car for sports families. Any kind of gear that you need to put back here, there's plenty of room. I imagine that the 3rd row is probably going to extend back here. So if you do add the 3rd row, you're not going to have a ton of cargo space. And I would say it probably will come to about, you'll probably see it come to about right here, which means that we'll have probably a good 7 cubic feet of space, something like that. So not a ton of space, but enough if you really need that 3rd row seating. It's great to have. If you don't need it, you have a ton of cargo space. I'll also note there are the 3 top tethers there for child passenger car seats, and the center row is a 60-40 split, so you can put down one side or the other if you need additional cargo space. This is the Trailhunter edition, and so this one has been outfitted specifically for going off-road. It has more capable suspension, skid plates. It has these guards that are really there. You might use them as a running board, but they are designed to protect the underbody of the car. It also has enhanced shock absorbers, all-terrain tires that are designed for off-roading, and even a snorkel here on the side, which basically makes sure that the air that's taken into the engine is clean and not the dusty air that's down on the trail. It has nice cladding around the wheels. It has this tubular running board here, which you can use as a running board, but also acts as protection for the underside of the truck. Notice the Heritage Toyota badge here on the front and that really wide honeycomb front grille. And inside you'll find some Trailhunter specific details. It has this really pretty stitching and upholstery to let you know that this is the Trailhunter edition. Ooh, there's even like maps on the floor mats. And then it has, oh, check out this Toyota badge here. So very similar to what Toyota has done in some of their other trucks, giving you a more resilient, reminding you again that you are in this for the adventure. So the interior details are pretty similar here. Rear seat is similar. This one does not have a sunroof, but I'm guessing that that will be an option if you would like it. This is a cool detail. The JBL speaker can pop out and you can take it with you. How cool is that? You even have Trailhunter badges here on the door. And all of our truly, oh, look at this. So you can actually add some patches here, some access here for towing. In the Trailhunter edition, we have a totally different 4-wheel drive setup than we did in the Limited. So there's tow haul, there's drive mode, so you can select your drive mode, but there's also multi-terrain select, so you can choose sand, mud, etc. This is your crawl control, which is something that you'll see in the TRD Pro and the Trailhunter version of the Tacoma. And then the 4-wheel drive motion, we have 2 high, which is front-wheel drive, 4 high, which is 4-wheel drive, and 4 low. So you just press this in and click the dial to choose the drive mode that you want. This is going to be your more fuel-efficient mode. This is going to be give you traction on all four wheels. And this is, if you're going into crawl mode, rock crawl or something like that, that's where you want to be. And then here's our hold, brake hold. And then here is our trailering mode, the camera view, and then our rear differential lock and stability bar or sway bar. So different setup here for off-roading in the Trailhunter. Many more features and capabilities in the Trailhunter than in the Limited, although the Limited is very capable too. Toyota offers a lot of vehicles with a third row. If you really do need a third row, there is a Toyota Sequoia, which is right here, and it's in the TRD version. And then there is the 4Runner. We also have, not with a third row, the Toyota Land Cruiser. It doesn't have a third row yet, but we think it's going to get one. If it does, it'll probably be a little on the small side, similar to what you will find in the 2 grades of the Toyota 4Runner that have a third row option. Toyota likes to make a truck or an SUV for everybody, so whatever it is that you want, you can have in the Toyota family of trucks and SUVs. The 4Runner is something we've been waiting for so long. It has that really nice ride height with that ground clearance of 8 inches or so you feel large and in charge when you're in traffic or out on the trail. There is the limited edition for luxury, there is a base model, there's a Trailhunter now, and there is the TRD Pro. So you have the choice of truly off-road capable or just, off-road capable for potholes and stubborn curbs in the city. Whatever it is that you need, the magic about the Toyota 4Runner is that every time you get in this car, you feel like you're going to have an adventure, and you certainly will.